It's hard to understand the way that you went out. I bet you're living with a little hint of doubt. Maybe next time when you go to show your hand, you won't cut and run, you'll finally make a stand. 'Cause I know it's true, I'm finally getting to you. We're not through. Yeah, I know it's true, I'm finally getting to you. Existential questions always get you down. All you want to know is are we lost or found? Is there something that you feel you need to chase? I bet you thought you put me in my place. 'Cause I know it's true, I'm finally getting to you. We're not through. I know it's true, I'm finally getting to you. Yeah, I know it's true, I'm finally getting to you. We're not through. Yeah, I know it's true, I'm finally getting to you. You can run, you can hide, but inside, I'm finally getting to you. Yes, it's true. I still love you, but I am getting to you.
Stand by to initiate release sequencer. On my mark. 5,
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
2, 1. Mark.
Welcome back to the Resupply with me, GuyNextDoor.
Ooh, me, DK.
And me, Thad.
Bringing you your cold fart warmed up in the microwave type fanciness. Double tap, that is
What?
all things Laser Force and Space Marines. I was trying to think of a way to describe, like, you know, we put a fancy new title on the stream, but it's still the same old garbage.
That was worse than your sticky film food you were talking about not too long ago.
Yeah, that was really poor, bro.
We used to use that as an insult as kids. We'd be like, "Oh, you think you're hot shit, but you're just cold farts warmed up in the microwave." That was our go-to.
It's a pretty sick burn right
urban
there.
dish. Yeah, you guys can use that one
Wow.
at home if you want. Say that to the next person you come in contact with, regardless of who it is. For
sure.
Hello,
But that would
friends.
imply that, like, the more that's the, like, would mean that being hot shit is good. So technically a cold fart warmed up would be closer to hot shit, and therefore it should be better, right? I mean, I just want to unpack the logic here.
Nah, you don't want to do that. You just want to say it with attitude. If you sound edgy, people will take offense. You know, that's how it goes.
Lesson number 1 of the internet, kids.
That's right. You think you're past it to you at work? No, I was specifically talking to you, Tucker. You should definitely use it at work, especially if your boss walks in. They'll love it. Nice to see you guys. Hello, everyone. It's a bit windy, chance of rain later. We're hoping it won't affect Steven's performance.
performance.
Everything affects Steven's performance.
Yeah,
That's just how that goes.
Appreciate it, Dogs. He messaged me this morning going, "Hey, you fancy a round at disc golf?" I was like, I got a show to do. We could do it after. He's like, "Nah, it's supposed to be shit weather after." But yeah, it's nice to see you guys. It's nice to see you, chat. It's nice to be here. We'll get into especially why it's nice. But how are you guys? You guys good?
I mean, last week was great.
Oh.
And we're gonna talk more about that later. So I'll just leave it at last week was great. This week has been garbage, but you know that's what happens when you come back to work after being on vacation.
Yep.
Bullshit,
But it was good. I felt good and refreshed coming back, and then having papers to grade last weekend. It definitely took some of the sting out of it, knowing that I just had a nice little relaxing few days of laser tag and checking out the natural beauty of Colorado. So it was all good.
It's a pretty place. Real pretty place. I told you guys before we went live, I've been watching a lot of the show called Alone. So anytime I think of you know, I watch the show and I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I'll just get dropped in the wilderness in Colorado or Utah. I'll be sweet.
This seems like a terrible idea on so many levels.
Exactly.
For
And
you.
like it's funny because it turns out that Blueson's wife V is a big fan of the show as well. And so I was messaging her last night going, these people are dumb. She's like, yeah, it's easy for us to say sitting on our couch eating our snacks.
But I like my couch and my snacks, so that's why I don't go do those
I
things.
was literally on my couch in a blanket eating a bag of corn chips. So she clearly knows me well.
Fucking dumbasses.
Well, this one guy, he caught like 4 fish, which is awesome. Good for you. And then he was like, oh, I'm going to keep 3 of them in this puddle. And then I could just come back anytime I want and eat them. And sure enough, the next day he was like, oh, predators got them. I'm like, obviously the predators got them. They're surrounded by
Tell
wolves.
me you have main character syndrome without telling me you have main character syndrome. No one else will eat these fish. Let me just put some random food out in the middle of the woods. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Oh, crack me up. Who invented laser tag? How long's it been a thing? So I have no idea who invented laser tag, but when
George
was the
Carter.
first site? Actually, you know what?
George Carter, Photon, 1984.
There we go.
See, there's a man who does his research. It's all good.
I would also suggest if you do want to look at more actual informative information about the history of laser tag, go check out Tivia's website.
Go watch that. Don't watch us. We're not going to cover any of that shit.
No. We talk about like how superior we are, or you know. Hang on, let me finish that sentence.
Please finish.
Alone. There we go.
Please
And I
finish
bet
that
we could
sentence.
also beat their asses at laser tag. The
That's
people
right.
From Alone. So, you know.
That's right. So as I'm glad you guys had a good week last week. And like you said, then we're going to talk about that today because you know, why wouldn't we? Many of you know I need a boost of mic gain. Hang on. Thank you. That was the other thing I was going to ask. How's the sound? Is that better? It's probably better. It looks better on the levels.
Fun for us.
Yeah, we can still hear you clearly.
I got you guys boosted as well.
Yeah.
Better.
See, if we did the show in the chat room, we didn't have to bother with Twitch at all. Everybody could hear things the way that we hear it.
That's right.
That wouldn't get messy at all.
Okay, there we go. Roll on a little more bottom end, maybe. I think that's good. So we, not we. I had a week. So Monday, I'd left my desk. I'd finished my morning work session. Just smashed out a coffee, and then I don't know about you guys, but whenever I finish my coffee, right to the bathroom. So go to the bathroom, do my business, come back out, and all of my computer's in BIOS. I was like, oh, that's weird. That's really strange. Tried to reboot it a couple times, didn't work. Contacted Frosthammer to give me some tech support. he was unable to help me, but he was like, "Is there any way you can get to your SSD? Because maybe that's bung." And I was like, "That's not what it is." Sure enough, took my computer to our computer man and said, "Computer man, fix my computer." And he's like, "Oh yeah, your SSD's fucked." Now, I have got so many cloud storage solutions available to me, one of which I pay for specifically to store all of our back copies of the Resupply Podcast, which is dumb because we upload them to YouTube anyway most of the time.
Until the solar flare, we'll be fine.
Exactly right. I hadn't backed up any of our Resupply files, and that included all the logos, all of like the stream frames you see, all the backgrounds, all the icons, all the emotes, all the soundboard files. Like none of that was backed up, which is, as you can tell by Than's face, really dumb.
Accurate.
So, so I basically, the guy's like, "Look, we send, we've got a guy who can try and recover your files, but there's no guarantee, and there's no guarantee they're not corrupted and whatever." So I spent the next 2 days pissed off and actually like legit depressed about it. To the point where I'd even considered like, do I want to keep streaming? Do I want to keep the channel going? Which I don't think I talked to you guys about. Than being the champion that he is, when I messaged him, his first response, and I told the story on Wednesday, his first response was, "Oh, that's a lesson of why we back things up, isn't it?"
Such a dad thing to say.
I was so mad. Hey, Wallaby, what's up, dude?
Okay, in my defense, I was not actually intending that to be a complete jerk asshole response, even though it was kind of a jerk asshole response. It was more intended as a well, yeah, that's why we back these things up. And the next sentence, which you cut me off from because your reply was a little angry, and I'm like, I'm gonna leave this alone.
It was so angry by Kiwi standards, though. It was like, thanks, not really looking for that right now. It's like, oh my god, Steve is fucking furious.
Yeah, and so knowing that, I was like, I just kind of left it, but really it was intended as, well, that's why we back these things up. Okay, what's our path forward from here? Like it was intended as, it's happened, there's nothing we can do about it. The next sentence was literally going to be, okay, so what's our step?
What? I'll kill you.
Where do we go? And then Steve-O hits,
you, Leonard Nimoy.
and then Steve-O hits that line in our group chat. I'm like, yeah, nope, there is no good that can come from me saying anything right now, because having known Steve-O for as long as I've known him, it's like, yep, nope, he is redlined with anger right now. And yeah, we're just gonna back away slowly and let him simmer.
Well, it's a testament to how well we know each other, because when you said what you said, I read it in the exact voice that you just did, but I knew you were gonna try and be helpful about it, but I was so mad because I just heard the dryness of, well, as soon as I heard, well, in my head, I was like, oh. And then, like, to your credit, you from like 3 words or whatever it was, your tone, which is impossible to capture in text, but like your tone changed. It was like, oh, okay, yeah, he's mad. I'm all just be like, oh, there, little buddy.
Yeah, I didn't think anything good was going to come at that moment of me, hammering
trying
you
to fix
for
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, because there's, I mean, I've had hard drives die on me before, so
Yeah.
I know that feel of, oh, that drive died. Oh, I didn't do any of the backing up that I told myself I was going to do for the last 12 months.
Yeah.
Whatever. And,
it hadn't even dawned on me to do it either, which is the dumbest thing. Like, here I am being all like superior to the people on Alone, leaving their fish in a puddle. All right. Predators will get my fish. All right. If I don't back up my data, it could potentially be lost forever.
These
Dumb.
weird rocks with lightning in them sometimes fail.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'd resign myself to the fact that, okay, well, this, it's gone. Like, all the stuff's gone, and that's fine. I had 2 days to sulk about it. Time to start time to start fixing. So that you'll notice, none of those will work. None of the point redemptions are currently working. So I'll give those back.
So
to
there
you.
was one silver lining come out of this thing.
Fantastic.
Yeah, there's no soundboard. There's no there's no point. There's no channel point redemptions. Really, none of the interactive ones anyway, which is a shame. So I was like, okay, cool. So I spent the better part of yesterday. I was quite a day at work, smashed up my work, and then started rebuilding this stream setup. And created the new little fancy drinks of goddamn water. Anyway, cheers to you.
All right, Russ, just for you, asshole.
Although nobody redeemed hydrate.
No, nobody did. Russ, just through the power of his mind, was like,
There we
"Hey,
go. Oh, the lights changed. That's cool.
Much like me yelling at the kids in Colorado, you have to hydrate. Drink some goddamn water.
Oh no, he's found a toy. He's found a new toy. I can't wait till you get ads again. That's how much I dislike that. Cheers to you, Russ. So, I did a bunch of work to get everything up and running for today's stream. And I got a phone call saying, because they were like, hey, we can do it, but it's going to cost you like $500 plus GST. And I was like, oh, do I really need to do that? Like, is that something I should do? And my initial reaction was, yeah, I need to recover all the files. Turns out, no, I didn't need to do that because I managed to build back, like 75-80% of what we had. Or at least start from like you said, do a ground up build. So
yeah."
but I got a phone call yesterday saying, okay, so the dude already did it, so you're gonna get charged. I was like, oh, that's good.
Feels like maybe I should have had to sign something before y'all did that, but whatever.
Well, it turns out this guy does apparently like forensic data recovery for the police. So he didn't have time to fuck around being like, hey, do you want it or not? He just did it and was like, here's your bill. So, yay.
Yay-ish.
Yay-ish. Mixed bag, but silver lining. We're still up and running. I've climbed my way out of my sad hole and have decided that, let's keep going with this thing because, I still enjoy it. I assume that you guys do too, so...
Yeah. Yeah, we do.
I'm glad that it didn't blow up for that reason. We'll blow it up for some completely different reason.
Yeah. One of us will have an affair with the other, and it'll throw off the power dynamic.
I just can't resist those luscious locks.
I would assume it was going to be you two to overthrow me. Sons of bitches. Right, let's move on.
I thought that we were just a happy throuple, so okay, whatever.
TK is Stevie Nicks. Can I be Fleetwood?
Hey, there are
Is
worse
that
things
one
to
of
be
them?
in life.
Was one of them
Valid.
called Fleetwood? Surely. Probably. Right, real quick.
I don't know. I don't know any of their band members.
Yeah, there was Stevie Nicks and the other
And
ones.
those other people.
Yeah. This week, no doubt some of you have seen old BC GuyNextDoor at his most shilliness had decided to do a thing. So let's quickly switch across here. We talked about it on the show a couple of weeks ago, I think, that we had toyed with the idea of doing a disc golf range. So I kind of pushed the idea to see how doable it was and if it has legs. And turns out it was very doable. So we currently are. We've got these limited edition, the Resupply disc golf range. They are currently available for pre-order. Pre-order will end this weekend, by the end of this weekend. If you want to order a set, these will be getting sent out to various places across the world. The price is $70 New Zealand plus whatever shipping ends up being. Shipping is the unknown at the moment, but it shouldn't be too bad because I know that I think there's like a dozen going to the West Coast, there's a dozen going to the East Coast, there's a bunch going to Brisbane, so they're flying off the shelves, if you will.
Wah, wah, wah.
As the limited edition, does that mean you're not actually allowed to use them? So I'm actually ordering myself.
You can use them all you want.
Yeah, I'm getting 2 sets. I'm going to keep one, and I'm going to use the other one. So, I don't want to tell you what to do with your money, but you should definitely buy 2 sets if you're going to buy any.
Please help Steve recover that money he had to spend on getting his SSD back.
So that's the thing. I decided, because I'm dumb, I decided to not... this is the one time I'm going to just do these at cost. I don't think anyone's actually going to want to buy these. I'm going to do 30 of each. So, 90 discs. And I'm going to just sell them at cost price for people because I want some and hopefully some other people do too. And if I can sell 20 sets of them, cool, awesome. The 30 sold immediately within the first day. I was like, okay, all right, maybe we should have put, like a little bit of markup on. But, if you want some, let me know. Because I can't wait till, these become available. I've actually been told that that the double tap putter, that colorway, there's only 30 of those available. So all of those have, I guess, been pre-sold. So there'll be another color that those will come in. Just unsure of what color that'll be. But if you've already ordered, which for those of you who have, you'll get that colorway because that colorway is awesome. How about the wristbands? Wristbands still happening. Haven't done anything further towards those. They've been put on the shelf due to PC issues and my overwhelming excitement to get frisbees made.
At least you're honest.
Yeah, I should number them. Oh, I should number them. You kind of need like a little box, like a little display box to like number them. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I will. People are like, why'd you draw on my frisbee, you jerk? You ruined it. Alright. I'll stop shilling those.
For now.
For now. I'm sorry, did you right there, buddy?
Yeah. Great.
Let's talk about
The weather
Laser
change.
Force. Let's talk about Laser Force. I played a little bit last night, which was fun.
Nice.
Yeah, we did some recruiting. Hopefully, we got a few kids keen. We'll see how that goes. But you guys played some tag as well. I hear you went on a road trip.
We did.
Yeah, we did what's seemingly becoming a relatively regular thing of going to Loveland and playing an extended member night over the course of 2 nights. So first off, big thank yous to Autumn who basically did all of the initial legwork to organize, and obviously big thank you to everybody in Loveland, especially Jeff for letting us do it for a very reasonable rate for the days that we played, and Tucker, Calkins, and Luke for the org stuff that they did on their side for us as well.
Yep.
So yeah, it was a good time. We had 11 traveling people show up. So on top of their normal numbers, on the Tuesday we had like 20-ish people, and on the Wednesday we had like 27-ish.
Wow.
So yeah, it was in general a good time was had by all. It was nice to get some games in, even if it put into sharp relief just how terrible I am at laser tag now.
I don't know if I'd say that.
Ish. Also, finally after having been playing in Loveland since 2015. 2015 was the first time I played there, so 8 years. I finally played a standard game in Loveland, so I finally have a standard game there, and I finally got a chance to try laser ball as well. So that was fun. I think I got 22 games over the 2 days, and that put me to over 100 games there.
Nice.
Now, which is pretty cool. Just overall, good time, good vibe. Generally good games.
The maze, it kind of reminds me of Brisbane in the sense that, like, you kind of have to play there a bunch, like a lot of games, and the more you play there, probably the more you'll enjoy the maze.
I would say I agree with that, because I felt like I did not like it at all in 2015 when I first played there.
Same.
When I came back next time, I'm just like, okay, there's some things that are good here, not as bad as I remember. And then by the duos tournament, I was like, I'm having a good time in this field. It's probably never going to be in like my top tier fields, but it plays perfectly fine. It's like if there were just maybe a couple of changes made to the downstairs, it would actually, I think, be a great arena to play. But just the problem of downstairs is so overwhelming there that it's like there really is not a very viable way to use the first floor, where if your resupply is on the first floor, you're just getting hammered.
Yeah.
There's not really a trade-off.
Is that like come down to people being able to shoot down from the top?
That's part of it, but it's mostly just because of how open the downstairs is.
Yeah, right.
So it's like there's always multiple ways into places, and ways that are super exposed to get into places, because it's like you might only have about this much of clearance between you and what's essentially an open hallway. So it's like, okay, yeah, you can't be shot from the open hallway, but people can go to 20 different points to get into where they need to. There's just not a lot of safe zones.
Like a wide channel, right? You could like take a few steps to one way and then be fine to
and there's so many ways that you can shoot people without chasing downstairs, where you can still parallel path them and that kind of stuff. Whereas I feel like in Brisbane, the bilge obviously isn't ideal, but it is pretty defensible. And Auckland, you at least have that kind of trade-off of, okay, well, you can be downstairs and be a little bit safer, but you don't have as much information. Whereas if you're upstairs, it's like maybe it's a little more hectic, but at least there's that kind of trade-off. Like there are pros and cons to each. There's really no pros to being downstairs in Loveland, at least as a place where you're resupplying and trying to mount a defense. So that's, I would say, the only real drawback to the field. But like there's a lot to do with that second and third floor that I think are pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Just to echo that, it's definitely a field that has grown on me over the last 8 years, because I definitely remember hating it with a fiery rage in 2015. And then going more times and figuring out, if you can zone control the second floor, that makes that make a lot more sense. But yeah, the whole thing of if you get forced downstairs, it's very problematic very quickly. It's just so problematic.
Right on. So how did you guys let's talk a little bit about laser ball. How do you find laser ball then specifically?
So I only played two games of it. So let's start there. And they were both, I believe they were both like 77 and 8v8. So they were larger games.
Did they play the whole maze?
No, it's only they played downstairs only, and because laser ball is essentially their staff members game who don't really want anything to do with Space 5.
Yeah.
They have some quirky house rules that, quite honestly, in a lot of cases, kind of reminded me of like version 1 Sacramento rules, which was just kind of amusing.
Right.
It's like, oh, here's people doing stuff 26 years later that we've established doesn't really work, but okay, whatever.
Just as a quick aside to that, I was listening to the podcast that Luke did with Thomas, and really enjoyed it. It was really interesting. But one of the things that stood out to me was why do people keep there's the aversion to wanting to follow the rule set that the Space Marines community have had in place for almost 3 decades at this point. It's just because I'm talking. Oh, if I get up on the mic like this, is that better? Turn up your speakers, jeez. The rule sets that we've figured out, and granted it is for Space Marines, so it's slightly different, but they work. We've tried variations on them, and this is the best kind of fairest variation of the rules. And it seems that there's a lot of aversion to just play by those rules and trying to I don't know. It's dumb.
Yeah, I said much the same thing, but ultimately it's like, if that's what the employees at Loveland Laser Tag want to do, that's fine. If that's how they want to play, that's how they should play.
Yep.
I don't really feel that there is any reason that the Space Marines rules couldn't be used for Laser Ball. I do wonder, as time goes on, if the game will kind of get more grindy and defensive, because if pop shotting is allowed, it makes defending an area way easier, and it makes movement much more inconvenient.
Which is not what you want in a game like Laser Ball. You want
exactly. I don't think so. If anything, I would make a stronger case for the shielding rule in Laser Ball, maybe even more than Space Marines 5, because it's you really do want to promote fast movement and motion and constantly keeping things going in the field. I do think it's good that they've added on a kind of rule about offensive players in the enemy base, essentially, that you can't just camp the enemy base, have 2 people go in there, reset everybody, and just have one person stand under until they can get a pass from somebody else. Limiting how much time they can be in the enemy base, or having to move through the enemy base. I think that's fine. That's a perfectly reasonable addition for that game in particular. Other than that, I feel like there were a couple of different things. They have a passing rule where if you are just passing through an area and you're down, if you declare that you're passing through, somebody isn't supposed to reset you. And I'm like, okay, but see, you could just play the chasing rule the way that we have it, and you wouldn't have that issue. The chasing rule would prevent that, so why not just use it? But
sorry, I cut you off then.
You did, but you know what? I'm used to it. It's fine. So
I'll kill you. No.
So 8v8, 7v7, 8v8 in that maze with first floor only. It's a dumb game.
It's too much.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. The game doesn't flow.
Yeah.
With those numbers in that maze playing downstairs only. I could see some relatively interesting things where if you were playing 7v7 or 8v8 and you were actually using the whole field, then you could probably get some interesting things going with passes from first floor to second floor back to first floor and stuff like that. There's definitely some ideas to be had there for a larger game. I definitely think that 4v4/5v5
I think 5v5 is about ideal.
Is the ideal size for that game, probably in most fields. I'm sure, again, everything is site specific. I'm sure that there would be fields where maybe 6v6 would be appropriate, maybe.
About the only one I can think of, honestly, is Syracuse, because I think they might have the space to actually play a 6v6 game. But other than that, I think in a real small field, 4v4 might be ideal. And in most fields, I would think 5v5 would probably be your best arrangement. I did get a chance to play in a 5v5 game, and I'm sorry you didn't get the chance to, Than, because the LLT employees wanted to challenge 5/6 of our Nats team. So everybody except for Thunder, who made the trip. So we played a 5v5 game against them. That was real good fun. I really enjoyed playing in a 5v5. We did lose. We lost 9-6, but I feel like considering we don't really play laser ball like at all, that's like a respectable enough result against people who are playing it every week. But that I thought was good fun, honestly. The 5v5 game, I'm like, there's stuff to this game. If I lived in Loveland, I would probably want to keep playing this every week. And I'm like, oh yeah, I could have a laser ball night and a Space Marines night. Great. That'd be real good fun.
Yeah.
Again, I do think some of the things need to be ironed out. I do wonder, it's still relatively new in the game's development, if at some point there will be some strategy discovered that just is so dominant that it makes the game like
broken.
Obsolete. Yeah, because I feel like we've had some games in the past with Laser Force where it's like it seems like a really good game on the surface, but then you discover these one or two exploits and we're like, okay, that kind of relegates this to being not as good of a game as some of the other ones. But at least my initial reactions now from having played like a competitive 5v5 game where definitely people were trying, because the LT employees definitely wanted to beat us.
Yeah.
That I think was pretty good fun, and I would say is probably in kind of my top group of games that I would consider playing other than Space Marines. Like, so it's up there with, I know you're gonna roll your eyes at this, Steve, but it's up there with like Photon and games like Color Conquest. Like Color Conquest, I think is a really cool, innovative type game that they've put in recent years. That's fun, and it's easy for like
Photon. I like Photon.
Oh, you like Photon?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I guess I'm thinking of somebody else who it was like I hate Photon. It was like everybody else on my Nats team. They were all rolling their eyes when people asked me what my favorite game was, aside from that. Damn kids.
I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites, but I don't mind it. We played a Dead Aim last night for the first time in forever, and like these guys hadn't played it before. They thought it was great. One of them even like psyched me out into wasting 2 of my shots. It was hilarious. It was really funny.
Nice.
So what you said before, Lucy, it's the same thing all over again. Scene doesn't want to learn new rules, plus at most sites, etc., etc. So I'll touch on your first thing. So after listening to that podcast, Tomas talking about the reset settings that they play with and trying to adjust those. Just like yeah, you found that the first change that you made didn't really work, so you had to adjust it. Just trust that, you know, we got it good. We made right choices. This my point is, like, adjustments happen and then eventually we end up, you know,
where we started.
Where we are, yeah. Which, you know, is what it is. And in terms of rules, like, in terms of rules, like, I don't think you necessarily need referees in games of laser tag. Space 5, I think maybe because the, you know, with all the nuance and stuff, but maybe not necessarily with the laser ball. You can always tell
people end up taking it as seriously as we take Space Marines.
I guess
if that's an easier entry for a lot of folks, especially in parts of the world where football is more popular than it is in the US, like, I could see that taking off and potentially being more popular, because Space Marines is very niche and we've had this small community, but that has maybe a little bit broader appeal. So who's to say that it might not become a really popular laser tag game that might need codification and refereeing?
I guess it's more like it's pretty blatant if somebody, you know, is following you, you know, is chasing you. And I guess if you're chasing a downed player, like it doesn't make as much sense in a laser ball, I guess, chasing down players, but I don't know.
If you really need to lock somebody down or lock an area down, I could still see it being useful. I think it's still advantageous to give the defending player a way to get away.
Right.
And obviously, the game is centered much more around where the ball is than where individual players are. Like, it's not like you get points or anything like that for tagging down players. Like, everything ultimately comes down to the goals. But I think it's still fine to have that kind of thing protecting a player from just spending the whole game deactivated, which is not what anyone wants. Or it's like you could use that to try to pull attackers away from, or pull defenders away from where the ball is. It's like, yeah, sure, go ahead, come after me. I'm not the one who has the ball.
Yeah, if you want to waste your time chasing after me, no problem. They're super against any input from you, and the one thing John changed, they quietly changed back. Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, it's two different games, you know, and it's fine.
I'm just offering advice. People don't have to take it.
That's right. I'm glad though. I'm glad there's another competitive. Like if Laser Force was, or the Laser Force competitive scenes was propped up by Laser Ball, that's only a good thing for us as Space Marines players, because you know the more laser Force sites there are, the better, in my opinion. Anyway.
Real hot takes coming in today.
So how was the rest of the games? Like, how was the Space Marines?
I mean, the Space Marines was at times about as ragged as you'd expect when you've got, you know, people that haven't played for extended periods of time, and teams are all being shuffled and mixed up across sites and everything, you know, thanks to our wonderful stats website, lfstats.com. Thank you, Russ. I was able to see, oh yeah, I played 17 Space 5 games and I won 4 of them. Well, fuck. So from a personal success level, playing Space 5, it was not a good couple of days.
Yeah.
But I think overall the quality of the games was at least decent.
I think so.
It was cool getting to, you know, getting to have teams, you know, mixed up so that you were playing with people that you wouldn't normally play with. It was also pretty great that Tucker had broken a few games. It was like, okay, here are definitely the teams, and you know, we'll random the positions or whatever. And it was nice that I actually got more than a handful of games with DK, because I haven't played any games with DK in quite some time. So that was super fun. You know, it was fun actually playing Resupply with him. It was about to be super fucking great. A 3-hit game that we had, and then it wasn't.
And then our ammo died after 60 seconds, and
oh no,
it was not great.
Yeah, our Resupply, I still don't quite know what happened. Like, we were starting from red, and from red, there's one play: get up the red ramp, get into fortress. Like, that's the play.
Which one's red side? Is that with the horseshoe, the longer horseshoe ramp?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and some,
they're both horseshoe ramps.
Yeah.
But somehow they ended up on the second floor and then got pushed downstairs, and I still don't know how they ended up on the second floor to even get as demolished as they did to get forced back downstairs. Like,
I think what happened was it was 11:45 p.m. People have been playing for about 7 hours, and their brains were not working so good anymore.
Potentially.
That is potentially a really good explanation, but it was one of those moments where, like, yeah, they came downstairs from second, and I'm like, well, this is probably really bad, and so we all ended up downstairs, and our ammo ended up dying, and both DK and I were downstairs like, well,
guess this game's over.
Yeah, it was just one of those things.
Disgusting.
Yeah, and my last game of the trip was very irritating because I'd gotten randomed onto heavy, and it was right after our aborted 3-hit game, and I was actually having a really good game. DK was commander on the other team,
commander, yeah.
and we were having a pretty good old fight, and I was actually in a good flow and wrecking things, and then went to go up again, 2nd floor on the red side, and the ramp wasn't quite where I thought it should be, and I hit the ramp with my leg fully extended and collapsed. And well, and you know, my co-host missiled me while I was recovering off of that, which
He was not on the ground when I missiled him. I did not see that he'd fallen over, but he was limping away, and I definitely missiled him.
What a savage.
And so, needless to say, like seriously, up until that point, I've been having a great game. I was in a flow. I was attacking. I was cracking into the resupply. I was getting medikits. That happened, and I think I maybe scored like 1,000 points the rest of the game. I went from mobile to not, and it was very irritating. And then this asshole missling me as I'm hobbling away, trying to get back downstairs. Like, God damn it.
If it makes you feel any better, it did happen to me earlier that night as well, because that day, my partner and I had gone hiking down in Boulder. So we went up this kind of mountain path, and they had different levels of hiking you could do. And so we were going to do like one of the intermediate loops, but it had a little side trail that you could go up. That was a very popular hike, but was rated as difficult. So we said, let's see how it feels when we get up to that point, and we'll make the decision. So we get to the junction, we're both feeling pretty good. So we decide to do the if anybody in Colorado is listening, the Royal Arch hike in the Flatirons in Boulder, which it was difficult. It wasn't overly difficult, but it's a fair amount of climbing. There's some narrow rock scrambles you got to do, this and that. That wasn't so bad. Coming back down was a little rough, just because of like how much impact you're getting. And like my knee was already feeling a little crispy by the time that we finished that. So then I decided, you know what, it's going to make this better? 6 hours of laser tag.
Of course.
Idea.
Of course.
So by about hour 3, like it's not feeling so good going down the ramps in particular. Like I have to plant my foot in a very specific way, and I'm just not moving as fast. So I draw a game where I'm heavy. I don't remember who my commander was, but the opposing team was composed of Caleb as commander, Kodama as heavy, and Snuffles as one of the scouts. So I'm just like literally I'm going like up against my Nats team doing this. They beat the shit out of us so bad. I got missiled 5 times in that game because I could not get down the ramp fast enough. That was more like I missiled the entire week that I was in Auckland. I was just in that one game, just getting absolutely demolished because I couldn't move. And I was like, I was getting honestly worried because we still had 2 more days that we were going to go to Rocky Mountain National Park and explore stuff. I'm like, I don't want to not be able to walk. Maybe I should just stop playing for the night. But I changed my gait a little bit. I tried not to hurry too much. I just stretched it out. And honestly, like I was still sore the next day, but I felt okay. But it's one of those things that it's like, now my workout and training routine is this whole trade-off between how much this is going to build strength and endurance versus how much is this going to just continue the slow degradation of my body right now. So it's like having to make those decisions as you
welcome to my world.
Get a little bit older. I'm not going to say old, but get a little bit older. It's a weird calculation to make because when you're younger, you're just like, what do you mean? The more exercise, the better I'm going to feel. This is fine.
Yeah, well, again, welcome to my world, asshole.
That's why I prefer to stay on the couch eating my corn chips and judging people on the TV. It's far better.
Again, though, overall, great couple of days. There was a decent amount of hanging out, outside of lasers as well, which is always nice. Awesome. It was weird personally, as I've been back in therapy 2.0 with stuff. It was very weird for me to have multiple people basically say that they were happy to see me. Like I'm still kind of working through the people don't like me just because I'm useful. People actually occasionally like me because they like me.
Yeah.
So that was odd, but
it's because you're
not bad,
famous.
just odd. Yeah, yeah. I'm internet famous in this very small niche within this little corner of the internet. Yeah, pretty much.
I'm glad. And because it sounded there was like a bunch of people that traveled, right? Like it was almost
11
like
people traveled.
That's awesome. That's essentially that's a mini West Coast tournament, right?
Practically.
Yeah, love it. He's exposed why I made a stat website. No, Russ. We don't like you. Period. No, just jokes. No, we like you. Love you, bro. We miss you. Come and play some laser tag with us, or something. You know. Yeah, right on. Oh, thank God. Takes the pressure off. It's way better.
A little bit of pressure.
That's really cool. I'm glad these things that you guys are in a position where these things can be a thing. Because it's almost, I don't know, like it's seemingly like a, you know, I miss Nats. This will be my quick little fix.
Yeah.
Until, you know, whenever West Coast is, or the Detroit tournament's coming up, right? Isn't there one? Isn't there?
As far as I know, yeah, sometime in early January.
Yeah, so I mean that's an option for people, and then I'd imagine there might be one more before, you know, before Nats.
There will probably at least be a social gathering of some kind, I would imagine, and it will obviously also depend on if Cedar City finishes their construction, because whenever they have a playable Space Marines arena, I'm sure pretty much as soon as that's done, there'll be people wanting to make a trip out there. So
For
whether
sure.
or not that happens before or after Nats, I'm not sure, but I would anticipate that's probably going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised, in addition to the Detroit tournament, if there's maybe one other kind of social gathering in, I don't know, February, March, April, something like that, to go play some laser tag. And I know some of the other California people, Aiden Autumn and Manette and Kodama, I think, are all involved in trying to organize some outings to go to Lost Worlds in the LA area, because their management and ownership has expressed interest in letting us play some Space Marines.
Wow.
And show some games to some of the players there. So we may get down there in November. Stuff is still kind of in the works, but that would be cool if we could, you know, branch out and get another site involved in something that we could access not super easily. Not like it's a quick day drive for us, but, you know, it's closer than having to fly to Vegas or Denver to go to one of the other laser tag sites.
What's the ping if you get a date on that? Wow. Why? So you could ignore that message, or I don't know, what are you playing at? What's the flight? Like flights must be pretty cheap from SAC to LA, right?
Yeah, but honestly, I think a lot of people would probably just drive and get a hotel for a night. That's I think that might be honestly what I would do.
What's the drive time? Isn't that like 20 hours?
Nah, it's like 6.5.
Oh, okay, that's doable.
Yeah. Depending where exactly we're talking about and what time of day, because getting to any 2 points in the LA area can take anywhere between 30 minutes and 4.5 hours, depending what time of day you try to do it.
Yuck. Traffic. What a piece of shit. $150 return, typically. Wow, that's significantly more than I was thinking. I guess unless you fly like, what, Sprint or whatever.
Spirit,
that's the one.
Yeah. No, we should get into this. I didn't realize that United Airlines they decided to create an even shittier tier of travel. Like your basic coach is not shitty enough anymore. We had to find a way to make it even worse by creating a category where we'll advertise you super cheap flight, but by the way, you don't get a carry-on. You only get a personal item.
What?
Who doesn't like to take a carry-on? Oh yeah, you can have it for extra money. Oh, I'll do that for extra food.
Spirit.
Extra food.
Yeah, Spirit, Frontier, American started that. Delta has their own basic economy.
Just wear all your clothes, and then there's no issue.
Basically. So, but the point was, I ended up not having to, but in order to maintain some semblance of civilization and sanity, I upgraded our flights, which was, a couple $100 more I wasn't intending to spend, but whatever. We got there, but poor form, United. Just what's next? Like, okay, do you want a chair? That's gonna be extra.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say that. Like,
We can just strap you to the floor.
no, you go in there and you basically hold on to the railings like you do on the subway. Like that's that equivalent. Could I be wearing any more clothes? That's pretty funny. Speaking of flying, I just bought flights to go to Brisbane in a couple of weeks. So I'm gonna go over there and play a bit of lasers and see
I heard Lucy's over there.
Yeah, I think Lucy might be there.
That's cool.
You'll see a little bit of These Four Walls play some disc golf. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be bloody great. Speaking of disc golf, no. Kia ora, Don. How are you? Snake golf, yeah. Like honestly, it's in the back of my mind always. I'm gonna have to play the best disc golf I've ever played. I'm just gonna hit hole-in-ones and leave the disc in the basket. So I'm gonna bring a whole lot with me. Just throw it immediately in, and then path of least resistance. Yay for snake golf.
Very snack, very golf.
You'd still do it? Yeah, I know, Stu. You're a fiend, a bloody fiend. Well, it sounds like a great time. I'm glad you guys got to have a great time with your friends, playing a bit of laser tag. Sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it's amazing the restorative powers of getting to do something that you enjoy with people you generally like.
Yeah, for the most part.
I did also enjoy sending you some disc golf, some pics of a disc golf course that happened to be overrun with elk in Estes Park.
Yeah, that's right. That just
they didn't give a fuck.
I would imagine they will mess you up, right? Or are elk scared like cows?
Yeah, probably worse than snakes, honestly.
Okay, so they're like moose in that they're gonna fuck your shit up.
Yeah, well, because like they had a whole bunch of signs up saying elk calving area, stay out. Like they will mess you up.
Yeah.
Wait,
stay the fuck away.
Are the elk, what, you remember when we were there and we were driving back from Estes and they were like crossing the road and shit? Or they were like next to the road? One of the two, I can't remember.
They were next to the road.
We saw some that were next to the road, and I think we also saw some bighorn sheep when we were up there as well. But yeah. You'll see them on the side of the road and stuff like that. I was actually nervous our last night coming back from Estes, driving back toward Denver because we were going to stay there for the last night. Just going around some of those mountain turns, I'm just like, please don't just be a big elk that's like right around the curve.
Come around the corner and he's just flipping you off.
Pretty much.
I mean, elk or moose versus car, you're going to lose.
The car. It's not going to be so great for them either.
No, but you are more than likely going to die in that physics problem. That physics problem is not advantageous for you at all.
I've learned that the moose is actually quite a lean meat. It doesn't have a lot of fat on it, and so you can't live off just a diet of pure moose.
Did we learn this on Alone?
Of course.
Okay. Excellent. I'm glad this is educational for you.
Yeah, it's the best. The more I watch, the more I'm like, I would die immediately. Like, within the first 24 hours, there's no phone call saying, hey, I need to be taken out. I'm dead. You can't use the phone when you just dead. Yeah, okay. Well, that's cool. I wish I had been there with you guys because, it would have been really, really fun. But we're going to have to wait a little while before our reunion. Are you guys... I know we're quite a ways out, but in case people didn't know, Nats next year will be held in Loveland, Colorado. If you have the ability to go, you 100% should go and check out Estes because it's primo. Beautiful part of the country. Are you guys both gonna go? Have you sort of thought about whether or not you're gonna go? I mean, Dick, I assume you're going.
I'm going.
Yeah,
I'm going.
Right now, I am planning to go. Barring massive, unexpected bullshit, I should be there.
40 plus Nats team. Maybe.
I mean, we have enough.
I'm almost there. Not quite there, Russ. Give me one more year to just enjoy trying to beat the kids. Usually failing, but trying.
Al, you can't go? Yeah, it's because we've already got plans to do a local disc golf tournament, so, you know, whatever. You can offer up 2 Lovelanders? Well, I mean, maybe, but we often don't need human sacrifices for nets. But we'll keep that in our back pocket. I've been watching a lot of Vikings as well. They do a lot of sacrifices. But yeah, have you got an idea of who you want to play with, or like are you just like, we're gonna sort out a flight and then we'll figure that shit out later?
I don't know that anything is necessarily set. I think there's still some there's some initial committee questions around clarifying if California is a single region or is a NorCal SoCal split.
Oh,
because that immediately alters, you know, what can and can't be built.
Tucker can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think, at least in our preliminary discussions, it was basically decided that California was going to be one region, because it's not like we can practice. So it's not like we would be denying a spot to some developing home site player in favor of, let me grab some players from the other site. Like, we pretty much always have to spend money if we want to practice or do any kind of team building. So it just, a lot of the strictures, I guess, are, I don't know, loose around that. But there's at least in the works discussion of putting together some kind of unified California team that will probably include people from both Northern and Southern California. I
guess the flip side to that is you guys do have to like pay to travel, and no, you're not denying a spot for other people, but for the most part, you've got the best 6 people from about 3 separate sites that could potentially form a team versus, you know, like does that team have parity against a local site that, you know, maybe has the 4 best players from that site and then 2 others? I don't know.
If we're only keeping it to California, I think so. Okay. Obviously, if we open things up, because our Nats team was half California, half Utah, like that, I don't think is a legitimate build for this tournament. That made sense when it was like, this is an overseas trip. We only have so many people.
Yep.
Let's look at regional coherence first. But in this kind of environment, right? Like, I just make the argument that Cedar City doesn't really have parity with any other sites either, because they already have 5 super good players.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's just a question. I personally, I think that, you know, California should at this point be considered, you know, one super site.
Just let us have something. We don't have anywhere to play.
I've sort of floated the idea with a couple of people about a Anzac team for next year, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it is still early days. I mean, the fact that we know the where and the when already is actually is a little, you know, we don't normally know this early. Normally it's more
it's
like yeah, but normally
I feel like we usually don't have solid dates usually until probably late December, early January, and that would be early in some cases. Sometimes I think it's not uncommon for us to get to February or even March, depending on where it's going to be held, before we have strict dates versus it's going to be sometime in this 3-week period. But as far as we know, it's going to be the first week of August.
Was that the 5th to the 9th or something like that?
I believe so, yeah. In Loveland, Colorado.
Yeah. So yeah, the fact that we know this early and we can start really actually kind of digging into the planning is nice. I mean, yeah, I think DK and I had a brief sideways conversation about teams, and that was kind of the extent of it. And I know that there's been other conversations that I haven't been a part of whatsoever. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the teams build out. It'll be interesting to see what the actual attendance looks like. I mean, I think it's reasonable to think that we could be at, eight or nine teams.
My money's at
'Cause
6.
I think eight's pretty plausible if we get people from Australia and New Zealand. If we get Australasian support and or a European contingent, I think 8 teams is probably pretty likely.
Well, and that's I think why I ended up at 9, because I had like 2 from Loveland, a Detroit team, a Syracuse team, a St. George team, a Cedar team, a Cali team, an Anzac team, and a Euro team. Now, I'm probably being a little bit, the full Euro team may or may not. I mean, I'm sure Marcus will be here, because he's always here. But whether or not there's a full team of Euros. I mean, maybe there will be another amazing flight deal like they got when they showed up for that random West Coast, and we ended up with
it'd be cool if a full team of people made it over from Europe or the UK. I think that'd be great.
Yeah, hell yeah. That'd be dope.
So
Marcus
in amidst
says your
all
team
that,
will be there.
In amidst all that, I think that it could be a really fun week. The practical advantage also of, because it's in Loveland and Denver is major international hub airport, it does make the longer flights for travelers a little more palatable. There's a higher likelihood of there being deals into that airport,
since you'd be able to fly, if not directly from whatever international location you're coming from, there should be just a single connection through LAX or JFK if you're coming from overseas. So that's pretty easy.
I don't know if we go to direct to Denver.
You don't.
I would think like maybe Vegas would be about as far as.
It's LA or SFO.
Okay.
LA for Air New Zealand, it's LA, SFO, Houston, or Chicago. They don't fly direct into Denver.
We do. I don't know if they still do, but they were doing direct to New York flights. Obviously, that doesn't help in this situation, but
just go back and come back a little bit.
Yeah. Right on. It'll be interesting to see what the turnout from Australasia is like. At the moment, Auckland's laser force is on hiatus. I think people wanted a break after Nats locally, which is a real shame, because I thought that the feeling for the scene outside of Auckland Laser Force was, oh man, we want to play more tag. We can't get enough. But I think we're making a little bit of headway with our recruitment drives on the Lunacy Night, which is kind of cool. And once we can kind of build up enough interest, we'll see about starting our advanced members night again. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. Is there any other tales from Loveland that you want to regale us with? Was there anything humorous or anything else that kind of stood out? Or
I got one. Well, I don't want to say one last ride, because there's actually been talk about reforming our Nats team for a potential Brisbane Nats that may happen at some time in the future. But who knows? A lot of things can change between now and then. But I got at least one more chance to play with most of my Nats team, not just for Laser Ball, but for a Space Marines game too, because Luke wanted to get some of the prospective Loveland A players some practice against us. Since we didn't have Thunder, we ended up taking Sadie as our 6th, but I also got to play Scout as a result instead of Medic. So that was kind of a fun little thing. And I tried to do my best Thunder impression. I'm not sure how well it went, but we ended up winning the game, mostly because Luke, unfortunately, as the Loveland Heavy, died out pretty early in the game. So it's kind of a wrap after that. But it was still good fun. I really was happy I got a chance to play with those guys again, not just against them because they walloped me, like I said, that other game I played Heavy. But it was good fun. So I'm glad I made the trip. Glad I got to see people. Glad I also got to add on some additional stuff like going up to the mountains and struggling for air when you get above a certain number of meters.
When you get to Colorado. John and I were watching them like hawks to make sure they weren't dirty cheaters.
That was actually the thing that surprised me playing was I was thinking, oh, 5,000 feet and gonna end up being short of breath and whatnot, and I wasn't, which was amazing for the relative lack of exercise that I'd been doing because of hurting my knee like 6 weeks ago. And it's like, oh, okay, I'm not dying. This is cool. I can appreciate this.
Oh, and I would like to issue also an on-air apology to John Calkins, because he had a very gnarly collision with me the first night and rammed his head into my chest plate coming around a corner. He has a nice like crescent moon shaped wound in his head that I'm pretty sure is going to be a nice little like moon shaped scar. So I told him he's been blessed with the mark of DK, but I did feel very, very, very badly about that when I saw like how deep the cut on his forehead was. I was just like, oh
man, your codpiece must be brutal. We got to turn the fog machine off for all of Wednesday, which was awesome. Why?
Yeah, that was also nice.
Crank the fog machine in there like nonstop.
It more than the altitude, honestly. It's brutal. I feel like at least the first game that I played there, if they've had the fog machine going, between acclimating to the altitude plus the fog machine, it feels like I'm breathing glass shards. It's rough.
I had to pick out a new one now. Now that he's taken some of your essence into him. Ew. Yuck.
Well, not any worse than what we said on the podcast 2 weeks ago. So
I did apologize. I sent Calkins a message after, because I went back and listened to it. It was actually it wasn't too bad.
No, I don't think anything. It was all of a complimentary nature, I felt.
True. But like, whenever somebody's not there to be like, bruh. I always feel a little bad, but then immediately
only a little.
His model just like, why not? But then that's all I have to say about it. Nah, never mind. Doesn't matter. Look, we'll be.
We'll fix it in post. Don't worry.
We won't have a show next week. Next week will be the local Battle of the Cuzzies. My cousins will be making their way to Auckland. We'll be playing 3 days of disc golf awesomeness, and I'm really looking forward to it. But it does mean that there's no resupply show next week. We will have a couple of shows during the week. I think Wednesday we'll be doing some more Dave the Diver. There won't be any stream on Thursday. We tried to stream this one game on Thursday this week, and everything was still broke as. And I had a fucking meltdown on stream. It was great. Have fun at your first day working at HQ. LHQ. It's what a legacy. What a legacy.
Nice.
Yeah. So we'll be light on shows next week, but we'll be back for the following week, I believe. But as we head into the Christmas and kind of holiday period, I think just keep an eye on the Discord, and I'll try my best to keep you guys in the loop with when shows and stuff.
Listen, you'll get shows when you get shows. Just relax.
Exactly right.
P.S. Please give us some money.
And that right there, boys and girls, is prosperity preaching 101.
I wish I had my make more lights go boom button still. That would be perfect. Look, for this
okay,
week...
I can record some ADR for you.
No. It's gone. We live in the moment. Real quick, buy some Resupply disc golf discs. You should all buy some, because they're great. They'll make your disc golf game be amazing. men will want to be you, and women will also want to be you. I think that's the way the saying goes. But for this week, I have been GuyNextDoor.
I've been DK.
And I've been Van.
Always remember to back up your hard drive, kid. Kids, plural. That'd be resupply. Yeah, exactly right. We'll see you next time. Ka kite anō. There's no buttons. Hang on. Where's the... There we go.
No! Oh, it's ruined! Ah!
I've been throwing daggers in the night. I've been chasing all the stars, stealing all their lights. The cut so sharp, cut so deep. If they seem to hit their target, must be what we reap. 'Cause you don't know what I know. You don't feel the way I feel. All these places I wanna go makes me wonder if my looks could kill. I've been throwing daggers in my dreams. If they seem to hit their target, it's harder than it seems. 'Cause you don't know what I know. And you don't feel the way I feel. In all these places I wanna go makes me wonder if my looks could kill. I'm a well-known stranger, walking my own path. Gave up all my mysteries just to get a laugh. You keep me hanging on so tight. Sometimes I just have to